Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, this is another episode of The Spot, of course, Raising Kanan, Season 5, Episode 4. And it starts out rowdy, right? Kanan's corners are popping off, they're making money. Obviously, the shot from the trailer we saw is used there. It's fun. Money's coming up. And then Taz pulls up on Kanan, trying to press him how to run corners in front of all of Kanan's original couriers. And they're just looking at Kanan like, yo, he ain't responding, he ain't do nothing. So we'll have to circle back to that, because definitely Taz, he ain't a main character, he's got to go. But Marvin's back at the church, seeking guidance on how to deal with the loss of Lou, of course. And for Marvin's character, he's come a long way, especially with the anger development, being friends with Gerald, taking care of Amber, and, you know, now at the church scene, we're just looking at him trying to figure out what to do next. But then Rock, she's steady making moves as usual. She meets up with Joaquin and he's trying to see if he'll supply her business, but he tells her straight up like she's erratic, they have a complicated history. I mean, you look back, she did clip his cousin as well, so understood. But even though Rock meets with Pino and Stefano's still complaining, you know, about their breakup, per se, business-wise, and he's just mad at he's complaining to the five families that Rock is working with Pino. And Pino's like, yo, just acknowledge his feelings. Just let him know that you mean something to him. Or he means something to you. And when Stefano meets with Rock, Rock's like, yo, I didn't even want to take this meeting, but Pino told me I had to. And Stefano felt the same way, but she straight up told him, like, yo, you need to stop being a little bitch. And he says, you know what, I want a piece of the pie. What you're paying Pino, I want a piece of that as well. So obviously there's going to be some pushback because she ain't doing that at all. And of course we have to circle back with Jukebox, because she meets up with Garcia, and if you remember in the previous episode she had a light envelope money. Well, in this episode she did, because Garcia was planning to give her some information for some money, and there's no going back, he said. And he made a point that Juke, being an adult, can't miss her bills, so we'll see what happens next, because she's going to want that information on what happened to Fame. But then Crank pulls up, dropping money in front of Breeze, who's not paying attention, he's just playing chess to himself. But Crank is telling Breeze everything that Taz and Kanan got into that little earlier on the corner. But Breeze was definitely listening, because when Crank left the room, Breeze looked up, and he was calculating the situation at that point. That's what you feel. I mean, with Breeze, he's very tactical. I mean, Snaps was raising him up on a pedestal. He's a person, a thinker, you know, a scholar in the mines, and you know, at this point, if he's DEFCON's son, as he says he is, then obviously that proves the point. He's a hustler. But then when Breeze tells Kanan to confront Taz for being short, that's where things get interesting, because then he tells him, yo, Taz came up short, I need you to go up check him. Kanan pulls up on Taz to check him, but then Taz starts yapping about how Kanan's obsessed with his mom and he just needs to get off her tit and stuff. And after that, Kanan just shoots him in the knee and then shoots him in the head. It's done. Over. It's just one of those things where you knew Taz was gonna go halfway through the season. Why not do it now? But then we circle back with Marvin and Rock, and they hire Memphis hitters to get Stefano clipped. Kind of drives him around the neighborhood, lets them know who's who, what's going on. And the Memphis hitters, while they look good, we know power hitters aren't ever the best. Look at Force. Look at everyone that's been around for maybe 3 episodes. They don't get the job done at all. They could be around the whole season, they'll still never clip anyone. So when they hire the Memphis hitters, at that point, the guy with the cowboy hat just shoots 2 of his own guys because they're outside Stefano's place. But then after that, he just shoots him, says nah. He pulls up to Stefano. And then tells him about Marvin's plan. And then after that, he says thanks. He gives him a bag of money. He heads up. Giorgio walks him out to the back door and then clips him. And to make matters worse, they send the hat with the blood in there to Marvin and Rock to open up. And that's when they know they're cooked. Like, chat, they are cooked. They got caught up. The mob now knows you try to clip a boss. Like, what you gonna do? Keep in mind, this is only halfway through the season. It's ridiculous. But then we still have to circle back with Kanan, because at that point, when he's with Tiana, it breaks the news that her name's actually Jarita. So if you know Jarita from OG Power, you know she's Sean's mom. You know she gives birth to Sean. You know that her and Kanan have some business. So we know she's gonna stick around, especially in Origins. But Kanan sticks up one of Flossie's girls, and so he sticks up one of the girls when she's delivering products to one of her clients. Obviously, he taints that shit because when she delivers it to the judge, who takes the drugs, he gets killed. And Flossie's like, "Yo, that was a judge. This isn't something you can just sweep under the rug," like as Rock is trying to suggest. But at that point, Kanan lets it known that it's Rock running up on her, and he tells Flossie girls to pass that message. Rock wants to keep that away from Flossie though. Got to keep family away from the business. Doesn't want a good thing going wrong. And when you look back at it, Rock, Stefano, and Kanan are just in this love triangle of hate. They just need to get away from each other. Because even when Rock meets with Breeze even acknowledges like, "Yo, I can't understand what you want, because men only want like women, females, glamour, all parts of the game, the flash that come with it." But he don't know what Rock wants, and that's what annoys him. So he's got to figure that shit out, because Breeze versus Rock gonna be an interesting tale. But at this point, I mean, halfway through the season, nothing severe has happened, but you do get the message that Stefano is now on the hunt for blood. So we'll have to peep what happens next. Stay tuned, peep the next episode of The Spot. Peace. Hey, it's another episode of The Spot. Of course, I'm your host, Yeezy Yon. And out here we got Raising Kanan Season 5, Episode 5. Of course, Kanan meets with Stefano, who explains, Rock, yo, she put a hit out on me. So whatever happens. And Kanan's like, do what you gotta do. Ain't nothing business with me. Keep tally right now. That's one person who doesn't give a fuck about Stefano. Rock, who doesn't give a fuck about Stefano's feelings. And Pino, who doesn't give a fuck about Stefano's feelings. But Garcia pulls up again on Juke, demanding that he gets his money ASAP. And the next scene, of course, we get Pino telling Rock that she can't try to whack Stefano. But she denies it. Pino doesn't have official proof. So in a way, he kind of vouches on her and is like, okay, just tread with caution. But the next part here, I mean, it's kind of interesting because you got Jorge, the pill dealer from the previous episode, who's linked up with Taz before. And he meets with Kanan and refuses to sell to him because he doesn't know Kanan. So when he's asking for Taz or Breeze pulls up, and both of him and Kanan beat the fuck out of Jorge. I'm like, yo, what the fuck? What was that? And I guess Breeze took it as some sort of slight or disrespect to him, but I mean, he was doing right by Breeze at the end of the day. Jorge, he was making sure that it wasn't just some rando taking Breeze's shit. But then Joaquin pulls up to Rock's place of business, saying that he respects other people's boundaries as they respect his. And Stefano's still making a fuss over anyone who works with Rock. So Joaquin is kind of in the middle of something right now. So then in the next part, we basically have Amber and Marvin, where Marvin's reminding her to say it's the white guy with tattoos, but Amber is being told that her families are threatening her, that they'll get her removed from her foster house. Marvin just tells her to, hey, just keep to your story, you should be good. So here's to hoping that Amber isn't the reason Marvin gets locked up. But then Breeze, he breaks down how Snaps is the brother of Breeze's mom, and so who has Breeze with DEFCON basically. And so it's just interesting to look at, because then Breeze's mom took the last name of another man who raised Breeze. DEFCON was locked up, so it's hard to believe. I'm not even sure if Breeze even met DEFCON. It could just be some BS, but I'm sure as the season progresses, we'll see more. But then Pino flexing that Manhattan muscle. He visits Stefano. He's like, yo, there's no proof that Rock sent a man to attack you. And Pino states that no one messes with anyone who does business with Pino. Kind of lays down the law in a way. He says, look, you can't go after my tenants. And so it's interesting to see where Manhattan versus Queens goes. It's Stefano versus Pino. I don't know if that'll play out in here. It could carry into Origins, honestly. Some people are saying Stefano gets taken out. I honestly can see him going into Origins, or at least Pino. Pino's the most likely case though. But Pino meets with Rock and tells her that Kanan is in business with Stefano, and that Stefano won't try to take out Pino first. But he also mentions that Rock needs to have a heavy hand and discipline Kanan if he interferes in their work. So we could even see Stefano and Kanan and Pino face off. Something crazy could happen. Something definitely crazy is going to happen. But then Juke wants to get into the game and tries to recruit her friends from season 1, the people who were boosting items, and she wants to work at Cafe Vu while also managing the money and doing this work. You know, Marvin warns her about the game, but she's all about it at this point. And then it's kind of interesting because in this scene you got the 2 white boys from before who met up with Taz, and Taz punched one of them. They meet with Kanan this time to get the pills, and they fuck with Kanan. They don't fuck with Taz. They stood up gas him in front of Kanan. Kanan's like, whatever, cool. And then Breeze and Stefano meet, and Breeze just wants to understand why they have to go after Rock if she's in Manhattan. Stefano says it's because she sent a hitman after Stefano. Talia another for Breeze, who does not give a fuck about Stefano. But Garcia, Marvin, and Juke meet. She mentions Buckley and Roland, the cops that Rock was paying off, and the one that Kanan saw Rock pay off when, she thought that Cliff famous. But she mentions that Buckley and Roland, who Garcia states are lower level cops, but Juke demands that there's more information out there and Garcia has to get it. Garcia says he'll try, but you never know what happens. But then Stefano meets with Flossie in hopes she'll drop Rock as a partner. They're reminiscing a little bit back and forth. I guess Flossie's dad was a good friend of Stefano, but she declined and doesn't want people telling her how to do her work. So another dynamic, another tally, where Flossie does not give a fuck about Stefano's feelings. But Garcia, he's in the shits now. Garcia meets with another cop who explains that no one really touched Famous's case because the feds took over once they realized Famous was linked to Detective Howard. If y'all remember, Famous was arrested at the end of season 3, and they know that Howard got him out of jail. They know that. And they know that he somehow linked to Kanan. So they're trying to now figure out what's going on. Now Garcia's confused because he thought Famous was just getting arrested for sticking up Freddy. Freddy? I was gonna say Famous, but Freddy, yeah. I don't know, it's just one of those things where we'll have to see where it goes now. Garcia's just getting deeper and deeper, and I'm sure he's gonna not like what he finds, but Joaquin is just using the restroom at some boxing event where one of his guards, confirms it's clear to use the bathroom. Breeze pulls up in a ski mask, shoots one of the guards outside the bathroom, pulls up behind Joaquin before Joaquin tells him the same thing you are doing is going to happen to you. And Breeze is like, nah, okay, I know. Poop! Pops Joaquin, surprisingly. But then Marvin and Rock kidnap one of Kanan's bike boys, Primo, after crashing him off his bike. And that's when Juke tries to tell Kanan, like, yo, she has Garcia on payroll. She's trying to get information, but Kanan doesn't care about Famous. We don't know about Crystal, but he doesn't care about Famous for now. He's busy making this work. But Rock kills Primo at this point, and man, Marvin, I don't know if it's because Primo was just a kid or something, but even Marvin was like, yo, you're going too far, especially over this ridiculous shit with Kanan. That's when you can see it in Rock's face. She's angry. She tells Marvin that Kanan killed Lou. And oh man, the next scene was fiery. He busts down that apartment while Juke's in there in Kanan's apartment and beats the holy hell off Kanan. We're talking Goku going Kaioken, beating up Nappa. We're talking Goku going Super Saiyan, beating up Frieza. We're talking Vegeta beating up Android 19. We're talking crazy shit. Marvin beats the brakes, and when he tells Juke that Kanan killed Lou, he's about to kill him, but then she stops him and they leave the apartment, and you're like, yo, nah. So we know Kanan's getting his get back for sure, but we'll have to see how it happens. Of course, find out in the next episode of The Spot, because we definitely gonna try to figure out what the fuck is going on. Raising Kanan Season 5 is ending soon. We got like 3 episodes left. We out of here.